Hey, what's going on everyone? Nick here with another Alien Covenant breakdown. So this one's a bit interesting because this is a new kind of behind the scenes featurette discussing how Alien Covenant is really the next chapter in Ridley Scott's prequel film series and how it ties in with Prometheus. Now unfortunately you can't really find this anywhere actually. I was able to find it through Aliens vs Predator Galaxy.net, and I'll leave a link to the video and of course the article down in the description box and in the comment section so you guys can actually check it out and then you can come back and watch my breakdown. But it's a pretty cool little featurette thing. It definitely reveals some pretty key things about the movie that we actually haven't seen thus far and things that I'm very excited about. So basically I'm just going to break down, like I said, a few cool things and just go over my thoughts on them. So first up here we have our first look at the younger Peter Weyland, played by Guy Pearce, and I really think that it was a missed opportunity in Prometheus to cast him as Weyland because there was originally going to be a flashback scene with him where he's sort of younger in his 40s here, like I believe he is in this movie, and it was going to kind of establish, you know, why you would cast Guy Pearce as Weyland. Why wouldn't you just cast a 100-year-old guy to play the old Weyland? Well, it's because they originally wanted to use the young Weyland too, so I'm glad that they're actually going to go through with that with this movie. Next up here, it looks like the Covenant is receiving Shaw's transmission beacon because you can see that kind of blue distorted stuff that we saw from the engineer's hologram in that last TV spot called Take Me Home. So the next shot's really cool. It reveals the neomorph, not the fully grown one, kind of the smaller one that attacks the crew during the wheat field attack. You get a good shot of it. It sort of runs by the screen pretty quick. So next up here is something pretty big. So Ridley Scott's basically talking over the footage here saying that at the end of Prometheus, David and Shaw left in one of the Juggernaut ships to come to wherever the engineers came from, being Paradise, and here we get to see them arriving on the planet. Juggernaut comes out of a sort of hyperspace flight mode, which is pretty cool. It gives us a bit more of the Juggernaut's flight capabilities. Obviously it flies with the open section of the ship behind it, so that's why when it crashes into the mountains it looks like it does, or basically in any other film it does crash down. So next up, a couple more shots of just the Weyland and David interaction when he's brought online for the first time, I'm guessing. This is sort of the prologue sequence to Alien Covenant. I really enjoy the design of this room and the symbolism behind everything. You know, there's old paintings around. You can see a pretty wide landscape shot behind David, and of course David is playing at the piano. And the interesting thing about this exchange is they're talking about creation. David says, "If you made me, then who made you?" And that kind of bugs Weyland a bit because it's showing that David has his own curiosity, but also the idea of creation is something that Weyland has basically been searching for his entire life. It establishes that in this scene. So the next couple shots here show us a bit of the bridge of the Covenant ship actually, one of which I believe it's before the crew is actually woken up. You can see the lights are just coming on, similar to the first Alien movie, and then the next shot you can see it's populated by the rest of the crew. Next up here we have Walter in the cryogenic bay of the ship, and he's, I guess, tending to some of the cryotubes with the colonists in them, and he's talking to the mother AI system, so glad to know that's going to be back in this movie. So next up we have a shot of Michael Fassbender in a behind the scenes interview in what appears to be his new look for David in this movie when they find David on the engineer's homeworld. Finally we get our first look at what he's going to be wearing in the movie underneath that big cloak. The next few shots here show us some mapping of the engineer's homeworld. I'm guessing this is prior to the Covenant actually landing on the planet. They might receive the beacon from Shaw and then try and, you know, survey the planet much like they did in Prometheus, trying to figure out what kind of atmosphere does the planet have and is it breathable, is it habitable, things like that. So next up is a really cool shot of, I guess, David's workshop on the engineer's citadel. We can see a couple corpses of some dead alien tests that David had, I guess. They all look like failed subjects that will eventually give birth to the neomorph and the xenomorph that we see in the film. The next image provides some context of the final sequence on the Covenant ship, as Daniels and Tennessee are hunting the xenomorph before it can hunt them. It looks like Walter is going to be helping out and providing them with information as they're walking through the corridors of the ship as he monitors where this unidentified hostile organism is. So the last shot I wanted to talk about here is Daniels again. It looks like in the sort of cargo docking bay of the ship. I'm guessing this is probably the final encounter with the xenomorph in the movie because it looks very climactic, and you can tell that Daniels has put on her zero gravity suit, so maybe they're trying to line up for an ending similar to the original Alien film. So that's all we have for this trailer. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you guys think of this stuff and how it actually ties back into Prometheus? You know, Ridley Scott has been trying to hammer in that even though this movie is very much much so focused on aliens and not Prometheus, the engineers, it definitely has a lot of the through lines from the first film and is, expanding upon the idea of creation. Prometheus, he says that we introduced the idea of who created us, which were the engineers, and now we're taking that idea further and going into the creation of the xenomorphs themselves and other things like that. And I think that the movie is really shaping up to be something special. I can't wait to see it when it comes out next month. So thank you guys again for watching. My name is Nick, and for more on Alien Covenant and the Alien and Predator universe, stick with the Hybrid Network.